Hey you, are you wasting your time on social media again? Your brothers and sisters in Islam Net from Norway are establishing a masjid, a dawah center. Establishing a masjid to convey the message of Islam is one of the best deeds a Muslim can do. There's a huge need for it in Norway. You know this and I know this. So that makes the reward even greater. So give generously and Allah Azza wa Jal will give you even more.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? Unfortunately, I couldn't. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? First of all, I have to apologize to the viewers for such a. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you guys doing? I know you're wondering. I know you're wondering. Why is it that the quality of your video is reduced? Why is it that you're having a worse off sensory experience than you would usually have in these moments? And the reason why is because we have the chump next to me. You know, I know this is absolutely upsetting to many of the viewers.
People with
viewer discretion is advised. We've got the Pakistani punk. We've got the we've got the man with the plan. The 500 most influential men. Actually, let's switch it up.
Okay.
He's a man that has been on YouTube for 10 years and amassed and achieved.
Fix this now.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Achieve more than most have in the industry, actually, the dawah industry.
I wouldn't go that far.
Yes, I was talking about myself.
Okay. But you don't have the accolade of the 500.
Yeah. That was put in brackets. They put me in brackets.
Okay.
in your section.
Oh yeah, you already.
Me and Ali were put in brackets. But I've come across this news of this woman. She's faked her, all these abuse cases. And first of all, maybe we should watch a video, bring it to the public because it's on mainstream news, and then comment after that.
This CCTV of Eleanor Williams buying a hammer in Tesco would be used in court to prosecute her. Police say it's what she used to injure herself in an effort to support lies that she'd been raped and battered by multiple men. Now Miss Williams has been sentenced to 8.5 years in jail for perverting the course of justice.
Okay, so what do you think of this?
Well, firstly, I think it's a big slap in the face of the people that have hijacked this issue and turned it into a Muslim-only issue. Because it's now come in the media, in Guardian.
You're talking about grooming in general.
Grooming in general, exactly. That this was kind of relegated to an only Muslim issue. And it's been well proven. Not only has it come out in the media, the Guardian reported that it's not a Muslim issue, but the Home Office has kind of provided the academia behind this and concluded that it's a majority white issue. So those people that have actually hijacked this, they have actually caused a major issue. They have actually made it worse for the victims, because painting a picture of a groomer to look a certain way is a big mistake and is a gross disservice to those victims. And in fact, there was a case that came out when I last did this video that a policeman was accused of grooming as well.
Really?
So if you paint them to be Asian, then what you're doing is you're allowing other people to perpetrate that crime under a cloak of invisibility, as it were. So what we're seeing now with Eleanor Williams using a hammer, self-inflicting that, some people are even saying that she could possibly have even been leveraged by the far right. And I wouldn't frankly put it past them, to be honest. That they have been using things that are of legitimate concern to the British public, and they have actually made a mockery, and people have suffered and paid the price because Eleanor Williams has weaponized something. And you know what? One individual received 500 death threats. Another individual, his marriage was broken. Other people were abused. Their kids were abused in schools. And because of solidarity with this woman, people were putting purple elephants on their windows. She had merchandise. This was a big issue, Hijab. This was a big, big issue. And what these people have done is sickening. It's sickening and is disgusting how such a serious thing has been kind of turned into like some sort of facade. It's a facade. And you know what? It's now incumbent upon the far right people that weaponize this to come out and condemn this. Otherwise, it shows that you're clearly not genuine.
I mean, this is something I didn't expect such a robust reply. I mean, it's maybe because this is one of your areas, current affairs. Maybe it's because you got the inspiration from the champ. But also because honestly, you've made a series. I had no idea what the stuff you're talking about now. I'll be honest. The purple elephant and this and that. This is.
Bro, it was a big thing, bro.
But let me ask you a question then. Do you know, like, for instance, this issue of, because this is becoming a phenomenon now, false allegations of abuse. And I was just reading. Maybe I should read this to the public, bro, because this is something from the .gov website. Yeah, I've seen this. New definitions, as it were, right, of what constitutes. This is from the government websites. It's basically saying, just to summarize, that abusers will be given tags and these kinds of things, and there's an emphasis on girls and women and harassment and all that kind of stuff. So we say, okay, what kind of thing are we talking about here? Let's see what they say. 1 second. These are some of the measures that are going to be set out. It says the law will be changed so that the most dangerous domestic abusers will be watched more closely. For the first time, controlling or coercive behavior will be put on par with physical violence. Now listen to this, yeah? Which will mean offenders sentenced to a year or more imprisonment or a suspended sentence will automatically actively managed by the police, prison or probation services under multi-agency public protection. Arrangement. A range of agencies will have a legal duty to cooperate to manage the risks posed by the dangerous offenders. While we are pursuing this legislation, police and probation services will start work immediately to ensure that from now on, offenders sentenced to a year or more for controlling and coercive behaviors are recorded on the sex offenders register so that they don't fall through the cracks. Now, what do they mean by controlling behavior, bro? This is such a vague term. It's saying that you can get a tag on yourself, you can use it because of controlling behavior, and it's going to be put on par. Imagine this, Aki. They're going to put on par a woman who's maybe been beaten up by a man, like finished off, with a woman who is now maybe the man is telling her what to do. Controlling and coercive behaviors. This is going to become law.
And it's further been exacerbated by this whole feminist narrative that you must listen to all women. Yeah, anything that they say, you have to take it.
So, but what they've done is the natural justice, innocent until proven guilty. On issues like this, they've actually flipped the script here, bro. They've made it guilty until proven innocent. If you think about what's going on, I mean, what kind of evidence would they have had to prosecute those innocent people that now there's clear evidence that this woman is a liar? She's a liar. So what evidence must they've had? It must have not been sufficient evidence, but yet they've ruined all these lives.
I mean, this is what we say when Muslims have been treated like this. We say that hate does not discriminate, and governments will find a chink in the armor, they'll exploit a minority, they will start with somebody, and eventually it will start becoming aam and general to the population. And this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing when it comes to this as well now. Trying these sorts of things on Muslims is now kind of being spread out. And we're seeing this happening to men now in general. Yeah, it's becoming to the normal population, to the aam, to the standard population. You are now seeing coercive measures that we as Muslims have been complaining about and saying that this is something that you guys should be assisting Muslims on, because hate does not discriminate and governments do not stop. If their aim and their kind of objective is control and to stay in power, that's one of their main things. So here, because we've allowed them to do it to Muslims and minority groups, now unfortunately and sadly we're seeing it done on men. Women might be on the kind of dry land at the moment, but that water seems the levels seem to be rising, and I wouldn't put it past them to eventually engulf the women in there as well.
I wouldn't be surprised if such measures and such discussions and such a low evidentiary bar would actually increase physical violence in households. Since now you're equating controlling behavior with physical violence, then the man may think, well, I might as well just slap this woman rather than say a bad word to her, because if I say the F word to the woman, it's as good as me slapping her, so I might as well just slap her face.
That's possible, bro, but you know what I think it's also going to do? It's actually going to demean the sanctity of what a relationship actually is, let alone even what a marriage is.
Yeah, because that woman can now basically make any kind of control allegation. If the man tells a woman what to do, imagine this now. So according to this, it's conceivable, right, from a legal perspective, there's scope that if a man tells a woman, do this for me, get that for me, get this, it can be deemed as controlling behavior, and the man can be on the sex offenders register and have a tag on his body.
A woman could be in a bad mood. She could be wrong. She could apologize later. As we've seen the case with other issues in which, it's been revealed after 10 years. The man's been in prison for 10 years. And now you're saying just because a command is seen as controlling, suddenly that guy could be put on a register. His risk, his earnings can be taken from him. His life can be ruined.
I don't know what they're thinking.
And
honestly.
then
what they're thinking, bro.
No, I'll tell you what they're thinking.
It's a discriminatory law anyway.
It's a discriminatory law, but then how can you in that same breath then be surprised and look down upon red pill? Because the more you're trying to force this narrative, the more you're forcing people to go on the...
You're actually creating an extreme reaction, which actually acts as a corrective to this behavior.
And we've seen this as a Muslim community. When they were invading our countries, it caused, like, statistically speaking, the more drone attacks there are, the more extremists are born from that area. There's a direct correlation. So now we're seeing the same thing over here. What you're doing is you're facilitating something, and then you're being surprised with the results, and you're trying to suppress it. Even in schools, you're not allowed to mention, certain, people like Andrew Tate here in the UK or Sneeko in America. I mean, it's like you're between a rock and a hard place.
Absolutely, and that's why, we mentioned it before, but, Ipsos, part of King's College London, they did a survey on basically millennials and Gen Z, and they found that I think 52% of Gen Z and 53% of millennials, males, feel like feminism not only gone too far, but it's now starting to discriminate against men. And 41% of women in that study said the same thing. When you read a law like this, bro, which is saying that if you have a controlling behavior, they want to put this through into the legislature, into the, I should say, the statute books. Bro, imagine that, bro. Like, all you're doing is creating more people that resent what you're doing to them, because you're just equipping people that could otherwise be just victim players with the most ridiculous kind of equipment or ridiculous kind of abilities here. You
know what you're also doing? You're taking away respect. Like, respect to men is love. Yeah. If men don't get respect, if they are not able to become leaders of their homes, they're not able to kind of lead the ship, then that ship is without a sailor. And that ship can literally go anywhere, can crash anywhere, and all those people on board will suffer and will struggle. And this is going to create men that are going to walk on eggshells. We're worried about the simp behavior. That's going to create super simps. That's actually going to create super simps.
But you know all about that, because when you looked in the mirror and you saw the super... But you're right. I thank you so much for your contributions. And I think people now, they are gravitating towards Islam as a religion. Bro, 10, 20 years ago, I want to end with this. 10, 20 years ago, I'll be honest, I felt like we were way more in the back foot when it comes to the gender issues. Today, because the full fruits of feminism have been finalized, we're starting to see, like, this is a rubbish ideology which is breaking societies. Even people outside of our community saying, let's just go back to the tradition that's worked for thousands of years of human civilization. And Islam is embodying that in probably the most uncompromising way today. And that's why people are coming into Islam. 10 years ago, people were never coming into Islam because of women's rights issues. Now people are coming into Islam because of women's rights issues. People are saying this is more of a model which is feasible. This is more of a model which is operational. This is more of a model which favors men, favors women, favors families. And that's why, alhamdulillah, many people have converted after Andrew Tate's conversion and so on. And what I'll say is that thank you for for coming on board and saying
I wish I could say it was my
the super
pleasure.
simp.
But honestly, it wasn't my pleasure.
Have you heard that kind of comment before? Have you?
No, I'm the one who termed super simp, and I made it up right now because I was inspired by the one on my right.
Well, the thing is, with that, we'll conclude. I'll give you the last word, since of course. I'll give you the last word there.
That's because you don't have anything to add.
I have nothing to add. Basically, like you, your existence to this planet.
That's poor, bro. That's poor.
That is poor.
You can do better than that.
I can. Anyways, with that, we conclude. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ told us that whoever builds a mosque for Allah, Allah will build for him a similar house in Jannah. And we know the great reward that will not only be gained, but rather will fill your grave after your death. Whenever someone prays there, whenever someone gives shahada in the masjid, whenever someone learns something in the masjid, yes, that will be something that you'll have on your scale.